fashion enthusiasts, welcome back to my channel. Today we are actually going to learn how to, or rather I'll be teaching you guys how to draft a basic pencil skirt with a high slit as displayed on the screen over here. So guys, please and please and please and please watch these videos to the end, like, share, subscribe. And if you have any question at all, please you can drop them in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer all your questions. Thank you guys. Now let's get into the video. Okay guys, so we're going to start off by drawing our borderline of 0.5 inches. Okay, now if we are drafting our skirt pattern, we should always use inches, not cm this time, inches. So first off, I'm going to start by getting the length of our skirt on the horizontal line, and the length of skirt I'll be using is 30 inches. Okay, so I'm going to place my tape rule like so and mark out 30 inches on our horizontal line. Okay, now we move on to the vertical line, the vertical part of this paper, our vertical line. Okay, so on the vertical line, to get the point on the vertical line, we have a formula that's hip divided by 2. Okay, so my hip is 42, so 42 divided by 2 is equals 21. Okay, so the 21, I'm going to mark out 21 on my vertical line using my tape rule. Okay, like so. So I place it and I mark it out. Okay, now the next thing to do is to create a box like shape. Okay, now over here we're going to draw out another horizontal line. I know my horizontal line is of what, 30 inches, so I'm going to place my tape rule at this point, okay, of the vertical, and draw out my horizontal of 30 inches. I mark it out. Okay, now I would join these 2 points with my long ruler. Okay, like so. Now remember our horizontal, we draw out a horizontal of what, 30 inches on both horizontal lines, and the vertical of 21 inches. Okay, so now we have to put another vertical line. We have to draw out another vertical line, which is hip divided by 2, which is going to give us 21 inches. Okay, according to the measurement I'm using. So I'll merge it up with my ruler like so. So this is how our box like form was created for our skirt. Okay, now after we're done with that, the next thing to do is to divide this box. Why? Because the front is divided into front and back. Okay, the front side and back side. So to divide this box, we're going to use a formula which is hips divided by 4, which is the hip measurement I'll be using is 42. So I'll say 42 divided by 4, which is going to give me 10.5. Okay, so I'm going to mark the 10.5. Please, this is 10.5 inches or 10 and a half, anyone you decide to call it, but 10.5 inches. I'm going to mark it out, place my tape rule at the beginning of the vertical line, okay, on the vertical part, and I would mark out 10.5. okay, just like I'm doing right now. I'm marking out 10.5. okay, now I'm done marking out. I'm going to trace them with my long ruler to divide the box. This is to divide the box. Okay, so I'll place my ruler like so and I'll mark it out. Now that is done, we've divided our box into front side and also the back side. So right after that, I'm going to label. Please always label your work. Okay, I'm going to label the front and back side so I don't get confused or mix everything up. So on this part of the vertical line, I'm going to label WP, which is known as waist point. Okay, waist point for the front. I'm also going to do the same on the other side for the back. Okay, so I've labeled there WP and over here WP2. Now the next thing is to mark out our waist to hip measurement. Okay, so according to the measurement I'm working with, my waist to hip is of 9 inches. So what I'm going to do now, place my tape rule on the WP and measure down 9 inches. Okay, for the front side, I'll also go to the back side and place my tape rule on WP and measure down 9 inches. Thereafter, I'll use my long ruler to trace out the line or to join the lines together, the points together. Okay, just like so. Now I'm going to repeat what we did here. Okay, I said from our waist point we went down by 9 inches, which is our waist to hip measurement. Okay, this helps to get our hip point, so I'll label here HP. Okay, next thing is to mark out our waist width. Okay, so how do we get our waist width? That is waist divided by 4 plus 1. My waist is 32. I'll divide by 4, which is 8, then 8 plus 1, which is going to give me 9 inches. Okay, so I'll place my tape rule on my WP. Okay, so I've marked out our 9 inches. The next is to get our hip width on our hip point. Okay, using the formula of hip divided by 4. My hip is 42. 42 divided by 4 is going to give me 10.5. Okay, so using my tape rule, I'll mark out 10.5 on the hip point, okay, to get my hip width. Now, I don't know if you're seeing this, but my 10.5 is colliding with my middle line, okay? The middle line dividing the box. But you don't need to worry. You're on a safe side. You should be worried if it's not even colliding with the middle line, okay? So we go ahead to the back side, okay, on our hip point, on our HP. We're going to measure out our hip width, which is of 10.5, and as you can see, it's colliding with the middle line still, but still we're on a good track. Okay, then I go ahead to measure this point here, which is our hemline. Okay, I'm going to measure here at our hemline, and over to the back, our hemline. Okay, now please take note, whatever we measure out on our hip line is what we're going to measure out on our hemline. Remember, on our hip line we measured out 10.5 inches. That's what we're going to also measure out on our hemline, 10.5 inches. Okay, same as our back side, 10.5 inches. Now I'm going to be placing my tape rule, and of course is also colliding with our middle line. Okay, I would go to the back and do the same, placing my tape rule, and of course it's colliding with our middle line. Okay, keep quick recap, 10 inches on our hip and hemline, both front and back, and it's collided with our middle line. Okay, now you see that point over there, that's how we got our waist width. You remember how we got our waist width? We said waist divided by 4 plus 1, which gave us 9 inches. So I'm going to be placing my ruler to line it up with my hip. Okay, like so. I'm placing my ruler to line it up towards my hip, which I've done so now. Now the next thing to do is to get our dart point. So how do we get that point? There's a measurement in Natalie Bray's pattern that says nipple to nipple. So the end to end measurement I'm working with is of 8. So I'll say 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So I'll place it on the NP over here. I'll place my tape rule like so, and I'll mark out 4. Okay, that makes our dart point. Now the next thing to do is to find our dart length. Yes, how long is our dart going to be? Now the formula is waist to hip minus 2. My waist to hip is 9 inches. 9 inches minus 2, which is going to give me 7. So I place my tape rule on my dart point and mark out 7 like so. Okay, so I'll take my ruler and match out these 2 points. So we have our dart length, which is of 7 inches. Now we're going to share this dart with 0.5 on each side. Okay, 0.5 over here on your tape rule. We'll place my tape rule on one side, mark out 0.5, and the other side marking out 0.5. Then I get my ruler and match these 2 points to the main dart like so. Okay, so I'm matching it out like this. Remember, 0.5 on each side. Okay, now we're done with the front. We are going to move over to the back. Now the first thing now we're going to do on the back is to also get our waist width. How did we get our waist width on the front? We said using the formula waist divided by 4 plus 1, which my waist is 32 divided by 4, which is 8, plus 1, which gave us 9. That's the same thing I'm going to be marking out on our back waist. Okay, I'll place my tape rule on our WP for the back and mark out 9 inches. Okay, just like how we did at the front, we'll mark it out at the back. Then I draw my waist all the way to our hip line. Okay, like so. Now the next thing is to get our dart point. Remember that point, nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 8 divided by 2, which gave us 4. Okay, so placing my tape rule on my WP for the back, I'm going to mark out my dart point like so. Now we have to get our dart length. Remember, I'm saying it again, to get that length is waist to hip minus 2. My waist to hip is 9 minus 2 equals 7. So I'll be marking out my 7 inches, okay, and I'll use my ruler to connect this point. Now we've gotten our dart length. Now on the front, we shared our darts with 0.5, okay. Now on the back is going to be shared 0.25 inches, okay, on both sides, 0.25 inches over here and the other side. So I measure out 0.25 inches, which I'll be marking out like so. Then I go ahead to connect the lines like so, okay, carefully so I don't mess the line up. I connect this other side too. Now remember, we shared the darts by 0.25 inches for the back, okay, and for the front we shared it by 0.5 inches on both sides. Now please, there is something you should always do to your back skirt while drafting. Please, always from the WP, always come in by half inch. From the WP, measure in half inch, okay, and connect to the waistline, to the hip line, sorry, just like I'm doing. I'm measuring out half inch over here, okay, and I'll connect it down to my hip line with my ruler. This helps to give your back skirt that shaping, okay. When you wear your back skirt, the back side of the skirt is going to have this fitted shaping to your body, okay. Now that is done, here is where the real work starts, okay. This is already a basic skirt, a basic block skirt, but the design we're trying to achieve is a pencil stroke straight skirt, okay, with a slit. So we go ahead to shape this block skirt. But before we shape our skirt, we need to mark out our knee measurement. According to the measurement I'm working with, my knee is 23 inches, okay, from the waist line. So I'm going to place my tip rule on my WP, okay, my waist point, and mark out 23 inches. Okay, please, from your waist point, everybody. I've marked that out. I also go to the back of my skirt. Okay, I'll place my tape on my WP and mark out 23 inches for my knee like so. Okay, I'll mark it out. So then I'll use my long ruler to join these 2 points together. I'll use my ruler to join these 2 points together, okay. Always make sure you mark out your nail. It's very important when you're doing a maxi or midi skirt, okay. It's not necessary for a mini or a skirt above your nail, okay. So I'll go ahead and label my lines. Please guys, this is always important to label your lines. Always label your lines, both the front and the back side of the skirt, so you don't get confused or you don't mix up the lines, okay. So as you can see, I have my hip line, my knee line, and my hem line for my front and back side. In next video, I'll be teaching you how to draft a short or mini skirt. But for a long or midi skirt, please always make sure you measure out your new line. It's always important, okay? But since we're drafting a midi skirt, new measurement is always important, of course. Now, there's something we have to do. There's a constant. We should always go on our new line, okay? We should always go up 4 inches from our new line. Is a constant, guys. 4 inches, this 4 inches, okay, like so. We'll place it on our new line, 4 inches over here. We'll place it on our new line, then we'll mark that out like so, okay. Then we'll also go over here and mark out 4 inch, okay, and go towards my back side of my skirt and mark out 4 inch from the new line. Now I'm going to use my long ruler. I'm going to connect these points from my new, I went up by 4 inch. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect these points together. Please, I'm saying it again, always label your work so you don't end up being confused, because this skirt requires a lot of lines, okay. So now this new line, I'm going to name it 4 inch line. Yes, I'm going to name that line 4 inch line, okay. So first I would just quickly label out all my lines first, so I don't mix it up. So for this line, I'm going to name it our 4 inch line, okay. I would label for the front, also do the same at the back 4-inch line. Now it's time to shape our basic skirt into our pencil skirt. Okay, over here I'm just trying to label out more lines. I hope you all are seeing my lines. How I labeled it: our hip line, our waistline, hip line, 4-inch line, new line, both the front and back, center back, side front, and center front. Okay, please, always important. Now, please pay close attention here. Okay, if it's a straight skirt and you don't want it to be too fitted on your body, okay, now we're going to go in by 1 inch. Okay, I'm saying this now. If it's a straight skirt and you don't want it fitted on your body, if you don't want that fit, from the 4-inch line on the side front, we'll go in by 1 inch. Okay, we'll go in by 1 inch. Okay, let me repeat that again. If you don't want your skirt too fitted on your body, okay, on the 4-inch line on our side front, 4-inch line on our side front, we're going to go in by what? 1 inch. Okay, same as our hemline on our side front, we'll go in by 1 inch. Now, if you want the skirt to be more fitted on your body, like bring out that shape out, which is what this video is all about, a pencil skirt, would come in by 1.5, okay, on our 4-inch line on our side front, and on our hemline, okay, we're going to come in by 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'm going to take my tape rule now, like so. See, 1.5 inch over here. Okay, so I'm going to place it on our side front on the 4-inch line. Yes, on our 4-inch line I'm going to measure out 1.5, and I'll do the same on our hemline. Okay, on our side front, on our hemline I'm going to measure out 1.5 inch. You see our center front, please, we don't touch our center front at all. We don't go in by anything on the center front because it's always cut on fold. So I'll take my ruler, of course. I'll take my ruler and connect these lines together, and from my 4-inch I'll connect my 4-inch to my hip line, like so. Please also note, we don't go in by anything on the nail. We don't touch the nail line. Okay, the nail line is also help us get our 4-inch line. Okay, now I'm repeating myself again. If you want a straight skirt that is not fitted, okay, you come in by 1 inch on the 4-inch line and also 1 inch on the hemline. But if you want a skirt that fits your curves, that bring out your body out well, okay, you go in by 1.5 on the 4-inch line. Do the same for the back side. Okay, if you want a straight skirt, you come in by 1 inch on the 4-inch line and on the hemline, both on the center and side back. Okay, now if you want a fitted skirt, we'll come in by 1.5 inch on the 4-inch line and 1.5 inch on the hemline, both on the center back and side back of the back skirt. So I'm taking my tape rule to measure out 1.5 inch. Okay, I go to my hemline and I'll measure out 1.5 inch. Okay, taking out these points on our 4-inch line and on our hemline. So we'll use my ruler now to connect these two points together and connect the 4-inch line to my hip line. Okay, like so. Connect it like so. Yeah, now next we are moving to the center back of the skirt. Okay, now on the center, now we've taken out for the side back and side front, we're going to move to the center back of the skirt, going in by 1.5. So my hem, I go in by 1.5. My center back on the 4-inch line, I go in by 1.5. I'll connect the lines like so, and also connect the 4-inch line to my hip line like so. Okay, now we're done taking our 1.5 inches here and there. Now the next thing to do is to shape our skirt. Yes, our pencil skirt has a high slit. Okay, it has a high slit just as it's seen in the picture. The picture has a side front high slit. Okay, so how do we get our, okay, remember on how we got our that point on our waistline, we said nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2, which gave us 4. So our that point was 4. So we're going to measure out that same 4 on our hemline. Okay, this 4-inch, we're going to measure it out on our hemline. Okay, like so. Then we'll connect it over to the dot point on the waist. So I place my ruler like so and I draw out. Okay, we're going to connect it like this. So after we have joined this line, this point over to the waist, that the next thing now is slitting of our how wide we want our slit to be. If you don't want your slit to be that noticeable, okay, the best thing to do is just slit open towards the waist start, okay. That's if you don't want it to be too noticeable. But if you want your slit to be noticeable, like open a bit, it's advisable to take out maybe 1 inch to 2 inch, okay, on both sides, depending on how you want it. For me, I'm going to be taking out 1.5 on both sides of this line. I will take out 1.5 on both sides, okay. So I'll place my tape rule here like so and mark out 1.5. Also over here, I'll mark out 1.5. Now, after taking out 1.5 on both sides of this line for the slit, okay, after taking out 1.5 on both sides, now it's time to determine where you want your slit to start from, okay. Now, if you want a very high slit, you can simply just cut towards the hip side, but I would advise that making a slit, maybe if you want a high slit, you come down maybe between 3 to 5 inches from the hip, okay. But for this video, I'll be coming down by 3.5 inches, yes, because I want the slits to be a bit high, okay. So I'll come down by 3.5 inches from the hips, okay. Only if you want your slit as high as that. You can even start your slit from your knee line or 4 inch line. But anyway, next we connect these two lines over here. We connect it to that point we made for starting our slit, okay. We connect it like so. Okay, oh, please always make sure you connect very well, okay, so you don't mess up the lines. Then I'm going to go ahead and label here slit, okay. I'm going to label this side over here slit. Okay, guys, hope you guys understand up to this point. If you don't, you can ask your questions in the comment sections, okay. Now it's time to cut out our patterns. It's time to cut it out with my scissors, my paper scissors, of course, okay. I'll be cutting out like so. Then I go ahead to cut to the front, okay. Now before I cut out the front, there's something we need to do. We have to go down by half inch from our WP, from our waist point, go down by half inch. It's compulsory, okay. You always come down by half inch on your WP in any skirt you're trying to do, okay, in your skirt patterns, especially straight skirt. So this is my half inch. I'm going to place it on my WP, coming down by half, then using my marker to mark it out. I'll mark it out like so. Then I'll have to use my ruler to connect. I'll connect the line all the way, okay, to the side of the skirt like so. Now we are done with that. I go back to the back side of the skirt and you go trace out that top part. I have to cut out that top part. I didn't cut out the top part initially. So I'll cut it out with my scissors and also go over to the front and cut out on our true waistline. This line now is now called our true waistline, okay? So we'll cut out like so and also cut over here. Yeah, there you have it. Okay, like so. Now there you have it, our front and back. Now the next thing now is to cut off this slit. How do we cut out this slit? Okay, over here we have our front pattern neatly cut out and we have our back pattern, okay. Now before we cut out the slit, there's something we have to do. Now we have to place this pattern, this is our front pattern, on a new paper. Okay, we'll place it on a new paper. For the back, we're done with the back, okay. So we'll take this out. Now over here we have our plain new paper, okay, which we have to fold, okay. We have to fold it into two because our front pattern should be cut on fold. So we'll take this other side to meet the other end over there, okay, folding it up like so. Now I've already folded it. I'll open it up now for you guys to see what I did, okay. Now this is the paper, full paper, and I'll fold it up. Now the paper is on fold, okay. So after that, we take our front pattern, okay, and place on the paper we just folded. We're going to place it like that. Please, I'll say it again. Don't cut out your slit yet, okay? So we place the pattern on the new paper like so. Remember, it's on fold, okay? So then we go ahead to pin this round, okay. We have to secure the pattern very well on the new paper so it doesn't fall off. Okay. Okay, now I've secured the pattern onto the paper. Now the reason why we are putting this pattern on a new paper unfolds because only one side of the skirt has a slit, okay, not the both sides. So next, I'll be using my tool, which is called a tracing wheel. Please, this is very important in pattern drafting. It helps to transfer lines over to a new sheet of paper. Okay, so I'm going to be tracing out my lines. Every line, please, is important. We have to trace out every line from the new to the 4-inch line to the hip line and to the darts and also the slits lines. Okay, so I'm tracing it out like so. Please make sure you get every lines. Make sure you trace every lines. It's very important. Okay. Now I'm done tracing out the lines to the other paper under. Now the next thing to do is to cut the paper in the shape of the skirt pattern on it. Okay. We're going to cut it out in the same shape of the skirt pattern that is on top of it. Okay. Using my scissors, I'm going to be cutting out like so. Okay. Please cut out gently and also neatly. I'm always saying this thing, guys. Now, as you can see, I've cut out that other paper, that new paper. I've cut it out in the same shape of the main skirt pattern. Okay. Now I'll take out my pins to separate these two patterns from each other. Okay, like so. Now I've taken out my main skirt, my main front skirt pattern. I would no longer be using this. Okay, this is not of use. Okay, so I'll keep it one side. Now this pattern, I'm going to open it up so you guys can see. I don't know if you can see it, but I can actually see the traced lines on it. Okay. So I'll go ahead and use my marker to line it up so it can be visible to you guys. Okay. So I'm lining it up now. I made sure I traced out all the necessary lines. Okay. Because it's very, very important. Also traced out my dart lines. That's what I'm doing right now. And please always label your work, please. Okay, now I'm done drawing out the lines and labeling my work. I want to show you guys something. Now over here is my center front. Yes, I'm going to fold it up now and show you guys. You see, this is my center front. Let me label it. Okay, my center front, and I have my side front over here. Then if I flip it over, here is also my side front. Okay, as you can see, my center front, my side front. So I'm going to open it up now so you guys see what I'm talking about. You see. Okay, after that, we're going to determine where our slit is going to be. And according to the picture, as you can see, the slit is on her hand side. And over here is my left hand side. So this is where our slit is going to be. Okay. So I'm going to take my ruler and my marker and trace out the slit lines. Of course, I trace the slit lines to the paper. And this mark now I'm marking out here, this is where our slit starts from. Please always indicate where your slit starts from so you don't get confused. Okay, now as you can see, I've drawn out my slit on this side. I didn't draw on this other side because it's not needed. Okay, so guys, the next thing to do now is to cut out the slit. Okay, listen guys, before we cut out the slit, we have to merge it towards our waist dart. Yes, so I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to merge it up like so. So meaning I'll be cutting this slit towards the dart. Okay, and it also means that on our material we will not be holding any dart. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out so you guys to understand what I'm talking about. I'll be cutting out like so towards the waist dart. Okay, I'll cut out this other part like so too. Now pay attention, you see that my line that starts where my slit starts is still on the paper. Please make sure it's always there. Now, so if we're sewing on the material, this is how we're going to hold our darts. In short, we're not holding that. This is how we're going to just sew our materials together. Yeah, the dart has automatically been held that way. So this other side of the paper, note, if you want to cut, please, we don't cut on fold. Okay, we just cut it. We spread out the material exactly like this and place the patterns like this on the material. Okay, we don't have to cut on fold or anything. Just spread out the material. So for this side of the paper, I prefer taking out my dart on the side instead of showing my dart, okay, on the fabric. So I will just measure out my total dart here. I'll measure out my total dart like so, and it's giving me 1 inch. So my 1 inch, I'm going to take it out on this 1 inch. I'm going to take it out on my side waist. Okay, I'll place my tape rule like so, and I'll mark out 1 inch and connect it. This 1 inch here, I placed it I placed it on my side waist like so. Then I connected it towards my hip like so. Okay, please just know that this dart over here is no longer useful again because we've taken it out. We've taken it out on the sides. Okay, just like how we've taken this dart out. Okay, so what we just have to do is to just sew like so, and then we have our slit down there. Now using my scissors, I'm going to cut out the dart we took from the side. I'm going to cut it out like so, like this. Okay, as you can see I've cut it off. Okay, meaning that this dart, I'm saying it again, this dart is no longer functioning. In fact, we've taken out all the darts on our front skirt pattern. Okay, now allowances to take. Okay, while cutting on fabric, over here at the side is 1 inch allowance, then over here is 0.5 allowance, then over here is 0.5 allowance, then over here at the side is 1 inch allowance. Okay, so there you have it. We have our pencil slit skirt. Okay, guys, we're done with the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye, guys.